Just this week, a young mother was killed in a murder-suicide in Northeast Raleigh. We now know the victim was 27-year-old Tanasia Gaskins. She was a mother of 4 young children, and it comes after several other high-profile murder cases believed to be tied to domestic violence. Eyewitness News working to learn what might be behind this very alarming increase of cases. Akila Davis joining us live in Durham with what experts are telling her. Hi, Akila.
Hi, Lauren. Domestic violence advocates say over the last 2.5 weeks, there have been 6 domestic violence deaths across the state. They say it's important to recognize the signs to keep it from happening to you.
Domestic violence is prevalent and pervasive throughout all of our communities. It does not discriminate.
Nisha Williams is legal director of the North Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence, walking me through their training room, showing how she educates people across the state.
We talk to them about how to complete a restraining order.
She says domestic violence starts off as emotional abuse, something that's overlooked. By the time they recognize the red flags, she says it might be too late.
Anytime we know that abuse has occurred in a home and that there are firearms in the home, we know that the risk of lethality increases by 500 times.
Data from the North Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence shows there have been 21 domestic violence homicides this year. On Tuesday, Raleigh police responded to a shooting in the 2900 block of Sumner Boulevard. When they arrived, they found one man who had shot a female victim before turning the gun on himself. She later died at the hospital. Raleigh police say the shooting stemmed from a domestic situation because the two people had been acquainted. Loved ones of the female victim, who they identified as 27-year-old Tanasia Gaskins, started this online fundraiser to cover her funeral expenses. They say she was a mother of 4 children.
Domestic violence is just one form of violence that can be prevented.
Elizabeth Sager is director of evaluation at the North Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence. She says over the last 5 years, cases across the state have increased.
North Carolina repealed the pistol permitting process, so the ownership rates of small firearms in the state has risen in correlation with DV homicide rates.
Advocates like her say pay attention to signs of abuse that could come in the form of control over money, emotional abuse like raising their voice, or technological abuse like stalking. They say it could save your life. And advocates say domestic violence agencies are critically underfunded. They say they're hoping lawmakers on both the state and federal level provide more funding to help them meet the needs of the community. We're live in Durham. Akila Davis, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
All right, Akila Davis reporting. Akila, thank you.